Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I really like. For this episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Elementary. In this episode, Sherlock and Watson are visited by a guy. He's apparently connected to some kind of firm that Sherlock had, I guess, two of its members of that firm arrested, which I'm totally blanking on what exactly he's from. Like, is it something that happened on screen or off screen? I'm not sure. Whatever the case may be, guy doesn't like Sherlock, obviously, but he comes to Sherlock because there's a particular doctor that's been going missing, and that lawyer or guy, the lawyer, his son is kind of one of the prime suspects because he got into an argument with the doctor. Essentially, what had happened is the doctor's been selling him, pain meds, and it's not that the doctor was, cutting him off. It's just that his dad cut him off. So basically, Sherlock is hired to be like, okay, find out, the real culprit, to keep his son from being in trouble. Sherlock, kind of deduces because of the way the boy is, and, the reason why he's taking pain meds is because of some injuries he sustained, bruises, and as well some back problems and stuff like that. There was all stuff caused by his dad. His dad was abusing him, and Sherlock, kind of upset about it, kind of punches him in the face, and it's like, okay, we'll take the case. So essentially, what you end up finding out about this doctor is not only is he kind of a prepper, if you don't know what that term is. They even explained in an episode, which I was kind of like, what is a prepper? It's a survivalist nuts. They're the type of people that believe that, the world is going to end, obviously many different reasons why, but basically the world's going to end at any moment and you have to be prepared for it. There's a prepper. This guy is one, but not only is he a prepper, he's also selling some of the meds from his practice. He's selling them to drug dealers. Essentially, he had he was being audited, so he borrowed pills from this lady, the redheaded lady that his wife thought he was having an affair with, and that bought him some time. What you end up, because essentially it looks like his drug dealers might be, the ones who killed him because of the whole meds, but then it's like, okay, no, his drug dealers didn't even know he was dead, so they're still looking for him. Then it's like, oh, what about the survivalist group? They're known as the Keep. I don't know if it's just the group itself that's known as that, or is it specifically the place? I think it's specifically the place is known as the Keep, not the actual group. But there are other preppers that he had been talking to. And basically, Sherlock and Watson kind of go undercover and visit this Keep, essentially finding out that the whole thing is a scam. There's it's just some dude trying to make money off these rich people who are these rich nut jobs, essentially. But he wasn't the one that killed the guy either. Turns out the one that killed him was his practice partner. Essentially, he killed him because he was going to rob the pharmacy and the Keep and use that as a way to keep up appearances with all the meds that went missing because he's been selling to the drug dealers, as well as to keep up his business with the drug dealers. But as like I said, the whole Keep thing was a scam, so everything down there was empty. Even those meds are not. There are no meds down there, so the whole thing was a setup. I mean, like I said, a scam. So his partner basically killed him because he was a detriment. He's going to endanger our business. He left him down there because it's like, okay, even if the police find him, it's like this won't tie back into me, but it did. So another big part of this episode is Sherlock and Fiona's relationship. Some very interesting things come up. Sherlock is a little angsty, with him punching the guy in the face, and he was complaining about the neighbors being so loud when they're having sex. It's apparently the guy that recently moved back in a few episodes ago, the one that Sherlock kind of ended up driving out of his place, and he ended up they came to agreement and he moved back in. Sherlock kept complaining he could hear him having sex, and it's like, he's going to Watson, like, how can you not hear it? We end up finding out that basically Sherlock and Fiona haven't had sex. And it's been 47 days since he had sex, so he's a little antsy. So the whole situation there, it wasn't like the guy was really being loud. It was just, he was kind of just super tuned to it and kind of pissed off because he wasn't getting laid, essentially. It's basically, essentially, he's kind of taking very good care to not, because him and Fiona are taking things slow, and he doesn't kind of want to rush things and doesn't want to push her towards having sex because he really likes her and he wants his relationship to work out. And I do like what Joan says. She's kind of like, oh, I'm proud of you. And Sherlock kind of gives her a look. She's like, I can't be proud of you. Basically, Sherlock and Fiona end up talking, and Fiona kind of breaks up with him because Fiona is thinking, in the beginning, Sherlock, the way she is, the way her mind works, he didn't look at her differently. He didn't treat her any differently, at least in the beginning. But she's like, as things have gone on, she kind of feels like he's, not being himself, that he's being very delicate. He's treating her more like a delicate object than he is like, a girlfriend kind of thing. But Sherlock eventually sat her down and talked to her and told her it's not because of her condition or whatever. It's not because she's different. The reason why he's acting the way he is because he's different. Because he's never had much success in the relationship department. He brings up the whole Moriarty thing. Granted, anytime he talks about Moriarty, he never goes into full detail. He kind of keeps a little vague. Mainly when he talks about her, he specifically talks about the Irene Adler part of it, not really the Moriarty part. But he's basically saying it's because he doesn't have that much experience with relationships. He's taken extra care to make sure he does everything right in this relationship because he really cares for her. And so Fiona suggests, is Joan here? And Sherlock's like, no, I told her, to give us some space. And she's like, we should have sex. And I love it because Sherlock's kind of caught off guard. He's like, yeah. She's like, you don't want to have sex? He's like, yeah, I would, but it's interesting to see him caught off guard like that. I kind of skimmed over it, but the fact is, for Sherlock, having sex with women was kind of just a natural thing. It never was something he had to wait for. It's like if he wanted sex, he can just have it because it was kind of a mutual agreement between him and anyone else. But for one, he's led a single life. And also just because, obviously, the pleasure aspect to it, but it also helped clear his head. So, he did it pretty frequently to help him kind of clear his head. Like I said, it was 47 days, and even Joan commented on the fact it's like, that's a long time. Even for you, that's a long time. So, well, not necessarily even for you, especially because it's you, that's an extremely long time. But as we can only assume, they ended up having sex, so it's kind of interesting. I would like that to come up. I mean, I doubt it would. I would love to see Fiona and Moriarty kind of meet. I don't know. I want any excuse for Moriarty to be on a show just because I love Natalie Dormer so much. But it's just because it's to me, it's funny because she is like Sherlock's main antagonist, but you don't see her that often. She's made, 3 total appearances throughout the entire series so far. But, maybe it's just kind of scheduling issues and stuff like that. Or maybe they have bigger plans for her. But I would just, whatever the case may be, I would love to see more Moriarty and, I would love to see Moriarty and Fiona. Let's see where that whole situation goes. See how she feels about Sherlock being in a relationship. I don't know. There isn't going to be a new episode next week. There will be one the week after that. So April 10th. And it will be a 2-hour-long episode. So. But that's really all I want to talk about this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, love life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.